So now I want to get back to this main content div that we have in here that should have that blue background color, but which we can't see. Now, because all of these elements are floated, they're out of the normal document flow, and that is collapsed. And there's several ways that you can put them to regain that collapsed box. Now, the first thing that you can do is that you can go to that parent div, and it is a parent div, and I'll show you down in here. The reason that that is a parent div is because within this main div right here, it contains all of those different boxes. So you can't actually see it here, but you can see the div starts there and it ends down here, and all of those boxes are within there. So that div with the ID of main becomes the parent div in this, and so all of those are children. So one of the things that you can do in a situation like this, where you have got a parent container or a parent div that is collapsed, is you can go in and you can give it a float. I'm going to give it right. And what that does is that it goes ahead and that reclaims that space. So since it's out of the normal document flow as well now, and everything else comes up and grabs it, then it goes back and it claims its space back for whatever it needs in order to claim those, in order for the normal document flow to be seen. So now there's another thing going on here, is that each of those elements is floating within here, and so we've got this main floating as well. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to bring it back over here. Right now we've got the whole space, and it's floating off to the right. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here and I'm going to change that code, and instead of floating to the right, I'm going to change that to float to the left, and then we'll look at it and see what it's doing. So refresh that, and when I go back to the design view, now this white space has come over here. Before it was on the right, the white space. Now the space is on the left, and that's because I changed the way that this is floating. Okay, so let's go in and understand this even more so that you can really start to grasp why things are happening here. So we've got this main div, we've got these boxes floating within it, and we have that main div floating over to the left. Now if I change that to right, what you'll see is that this is floating within a space. Now those boxes are floating within the main div, and that main div is floating within this space. Now it's not going up past here, and the reason it's not going up past there is because this header, which is what this section right here is, that header is not floating. If we had a float to that, and let's go ahead and float that left, then all of a sudden you notice that that pops up there next to there. So the only reason it appeared like it was in the normal flow is because it wasn't able to float up any further. So let's go ahead and take that off of there and get back to where we were. So we've got our main div, or our div with the idea of main, floating around in this space. It can't go up above here because there isn't a float there, and so it's not able to move up past there. This isn't coming up past it because there's the clear on it. So that's an important set of things to understand. A clear won't allow something to go up past a float, and a float won't go up past something that's not floating. So we've got this problem of we've got this space here, and it throws in this weird white space that there is nothing in because it's out of the normal document flow, but this other isn't coming up and taking it. So what can we do to affect that?